Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the NFC Championship between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? Hey, it's going to be a great game here with the Rams and the 49ers. I can't wait to talk about it and see who is going to come away with the victory.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching, thank you so much for watching our live stream, watching our replays over on Facebook and YouTube, and for listening to our podcast. And if you're just joining us on our podcast, thank you so much for joining us. We have over 600 episodes of our podcast now, and they are amazing. You can go back and listen to amazing interviews. You can go back and just enjoy the game previews. You can look at recruiting videos. And just like we're going to do shortly here today, we're going to continue with our class of 2022 recruiting classes. So you can go back and listen to all those amazing episodes anytime you want over on your favorite podcast platform. Well, Mr. Logan Landers, the NFC Championship, what do both of these teams have to look forward to?
Well, the winner of this gets to go to the Super Bowl, so that's what they got to look forward to. It's going to be a great game. You know, both these guys are going to play their hearts out, and I can't wait for it, man, because both these teams, they have tough matchups last week. The 49ers beat the Green Bay Packers in a bit of an upset by a score of 13-10, so a game-winning field goal clinched them a spot in the NFC Championship. As for the Rams, they were able to knock off the Buccaneers, you guessed it, by a field goal, 30-27. So, I mean, all the games in the divisional round were insane. We're going to do the AFC Championship video up next, but, man, for the NFC, these two teams, I mean, some were saying the 49ers aren't supposed to be here. The Rams had a little bit of a better path, a little bit of a better team, but here they are nonetheless. Let's talk about the 49ers first, man. So they had a tough matchup against the Green Bay Packers, who had a really good regular season record, had Aaron Rodgers, who's probably going to win the MVP this season. They shut him out, right? He did not get any touchdowns on the day in almost 30 passes. So they did their job there. And I think that really helped them, because if Rodgers got, the way he's been all season, it would have been trouble. But Green Bay, they fought their best, but they weren't able to do much. They didn't score any in the second and third quarters. San Francisco, funny enough, didn't score in the first half. So a really low-scoring ball game. You don't like to see low-scoring ones, but it was a close game nonetheless. But for the Packers, Aaron Jones was really the only form of offense, him and Devontae Adams, which, I mean, those are Rodgers' two guys there. But other than that, I mean, San Francisco just weathered the storm, right? They did a good job. Jimmy Garoppolo, it's crazy because he didn't have a tremendous day either, but he's not one of those guys that's going to throw for 300 yards. He only threw for 131 with one interception, no touchdowns, and 11-19 passing. That just shows you how gritty that the 49ers offense and just team is. They ran the ball a total of 29 times for 106 yards, thanks to Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel putting in some work. Also, Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, putting in work too. The receiving core, you got George Kittle, one of the top tight ends in the league, leading the way with 4 catches for 63 yards. Of course, Samuel, 3 catches for 44. And they were just really able to put in a lot of good work. And like I said, it was a lot of fun. The kicking game, we always mention it. The special teams is usually what gets you further in these playoffs. And unfortunately, man, Green Bay just was not able to be up to par, because if they had a field goal block that could have, gotten them, 3 more points on the board, they had that blocked. They had a punt near their end zone that got blocked. So that was a touchdown for the 49ers that was ultimately their only touchdown on the day, but it was all they needed. So just the bad special teams play was really what hurt the Packers. It wasn't bad offense. It wasn't bad defense, because, I mean, like I said, even though Rodgers he threw for a lot of yards, but not any touchdowns. And the defense was fine too, but it's that special teams unit that lets you know just if your team is fully complete. And it's clear to see that the Packers just wore it up the park. That's why the 49ers are in this position, going against the LA Rams, one of the top teams throughout the season this year. And, man, it was a good game against the Buccaneers. A little bit scary towards the end. It looked like the Buccaneers were going to make a comeback. But Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers, the rest of those guys were able to pull it out nonetheless and get the win against the GOAT Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, even though they were a little bit hobbled, offensively with some injuries and whatnot. But Matt Stafford, what a great game for him, former Georgia Bulldog product. He threw 28 of 38 for the day, 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, only sacked twice. Can't have thrown a much better day than that, honestly. The running game, they did a solid job. 30 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown, thanks to Matthew Stafford. Even though he's not known for running, he's able to punch it into the end zone. The receiving core, like I mentioned, Cooper Kupp, the best wide receiver in football this season. And you can see why. He had 9 catches for 183 yards and a touchdown on the day. Odell Beckham Jr., who's been lights out since he came over to Los Angeles from Cleveland, 6 catches for 69 yards. And also the tight end Tyler Higbee did good with 4 catches for 51. And, I mean, that's what the Rams are supposed to do. They're supposed to have this high-flying offense, and they did just that. As for the defense, you got guys like David Long, Darius Williams stepping up, putting in some good work. They were able to get to Brady twice on the day, thanks to Aaron Donald, one of the best defensive players in the league, and, of course, Leonard Floyd right behind him with a sack on the day. And, I mean, they were just able to kind of will their way to victory. A good offensive showing, like I said, pretty high scoring for both these two teams here. Credit Nick Scott with an interception on the day as well for Los Angeles. And their kicking game was pretty solid too. Matt Gay, 3 of 4 on the day. He did miss that a field goal, which could have put them in even a better lead. But nonetheless, you hope that doesn't come back this upcoming week against the 49ers. But a really tough, a really gritty win for LA. And I think that the pairing with them in San Francisco, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, San Francisco, I just said, they got a great offense. Their defense is good too with Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Mosley, Armstead. I mean, they were able to sack Aaron Rodgers a total of 5 times. So they were putting in good work. They were doing a good job. And I'm interested to see who's going to get the upper hand, right? Is it going to be the kind of the more methodical, the more defensive-oriented running game of the 49ers? Or is it going to be the all-out passing attack kind of, and a lot more veterans on the team with the Rams? And it's going to be a great game. Like I said, this is the team who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl here in just a little bit. So these are the top 2 teams in the NFC conference. And, man, it was tough. I was racking my brain all night figuring out after watching both these games yesterday, seeing who's gonna come away with the win. And I think I finally decided it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams getting the victory, 27, and the San Francisco 49ers with a score of 20. I know Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have, a cannon of an arm or anything, but the Niners have been able to will around him. But I think that it's time for Matthew Stafford to get a little bit more respect on his name like he's been getting the whole season. And, you got to love to hopefully, right, fingers crossed, see a former Georgia Bulldog in the Super Bowl here in just a few weeks. So I'm going to go with the final score. The Rams 27 and the 49ers 20 in a close game.
Nice. Okay, I can totally see that. I was thinking about this too. Like, you've got the 49ers and the Rams, so you've got these 2 California-based teams as well. So it's got to be pretty exciting for the fan base all across California to be knowing that one of their teams is going to be going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. And it's going to be great too because, like you said, these are both 2 California teams, so one of them's going to represent. I just think the home field advantage too, because they're playing at the Rams' home stadium. I think now that the fans will get behind them and will in the victory. It's going to be a great scene, confetti flying everywhere, and it's going to be a good time, I think.
Oh, that's going to be great. And what a great stadium to play in, too.
Oh,
yeah, that's incredible. Well, for everybody watching, tell us, what do you think the final score will be, and who do you think is going to win the game? Put it in the comments either on Facebook or over on YouTube. And then if you are our podcast listener, then we would love to hear back from you as well. So you can follow us over on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, or Twitch even. And you can also continue to listen to us over on our podcast. This is what we look like over on Spotify. You can join us and just look up 100 yards of football. You'll see our 50-yard line football pop up there, and you'll see our green logo, and you can follow us immediately, and you can also give us a 5-star rating. If you go over to Apple Podcast or any of the other services, you'll be able to leave us a review. And it doesn't have to be a long review. You can just say, hey, I'm listening to the show, guys, and that would be great because we would love to hear from you. So, yeah, you can listen to us anywhere that you want, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, Upward, What's that one?
Overcast.
Overcast. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much to our listeners on Overcast as well. I'm sorry I keep messing the
Big
name of
shout
it
out.
up, but yeah, we've been learning very quickly that the Overcast listeners are awesome and they keep joining every single one of our shows. So thank you so much to our Overcast listeners, our Amazon listeners, our Spotify listeners, our Apple Podcast listeners, and our live viewers and our watchers who come back and watch us live, or watch our live shows over on YouTube and on Facebook. So thank you so much for that. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been listening to our breakdown of the NFC Championship between the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams with our host, Mr. Logan Landers. We're going to be right back with another